The violin belonged to my grandfather, who I never knew. He was my mother's father, and they were from the hills of Pennsylvania. She called them Pennsylvania hillbillies. And he died when she was 2 years old, so she never knew him either.
When do you think he acquired this violin?
Probably, he lived from 1898 to 1921. And I'm sure he had it through most of his life, I think from the time he was a young man until he died.
And you had an idea about which one of these objects here, the violin or the bow, was the more valuable?
We were told by some folks who supposedly knew that often the bow is more valuable than the violin.
And why they think this one was? Do you know any
No,
idea?
I don't know. That was just a general statement. So,
okay, well, let me tell you the story. First, I think this violin is probably made around 1920, or maybe a little bit earlier, but not much earlier. And in fact, the bow in this case is essentially worthless. Even though it's got this very fancy looking bone frog and all these wonderful stripes here. This is what we call imitation snakewood. And the violin, though, is kind of nice. It's made in the town of Markneukirchen, Germany, and by a good firm, mass produced, but a very high-end mass production. Maybe by the Ernst Heinrich Roth Company. They were large producers of violins. They would have produced under various trade names. Very, very nice wood, very pretty maple back, one-piece maple back, nice flame, nicely shaded finish, nice detail work in the front. The head, even though it's got these rather commercial-looking mechanical tuners, the head is beautifully carved, and the back of the head is also beautifully done. I think that it's a very good commercial production. I think value for this violin, you thought it was very disheveled. You were showing me how it was so funky and everything's falling around, but it's in great shape. There's nothing really wrong with it.
well, it hasn't been played
And
since
it doesn't even
1921.
have, normally these have little cracks here and there from shrinkage. This pretty much has nothing.
Huh. Wow.
If this were cleaned up, properly set up by a violin shop, I think you'd see it for sale in a violin shop for about $3,500, maybe $4,000. You look stunned.
I am. I am.
And you thought this was better than that.
It's just Grandpa's violin. My mother would be proud.
Great.
My mother would be proud.
Well, thank you for bringing it in.
Thank you so much.